Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Shabbat Show. New place, new location, new show. It's an honor to be with you right now. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Anytime you do anything that's worth anything, there's always a little bit of a challenge you've got to cross as you face it. That's how it is. There's a concept in Hebrew called Kol HaHatchalot Kasher. All beginnings, if they're real, they're going to throw a little bit. So we apologize for being a little bit late today, but for those who stuck with us, we love you even more. And when you go into Rosh Hashanah now, you'll know you get one more good deed for sticking with the crew. Honor to be with you right now. Honor to be at an event that's going to be preparing us for the holiest day of the year. This is it. We're in the great days. We're in a period of time that is unbelievable. This is the zone. This is the time in which we can change who we are. One of the great challenges of Rosh Hashanah is that growing up, I don't know about you, I always felt like Rosh Hashanah was a little bit like, you got to step up, otherwise God's going to get mad, not give you a good year. Like, it's that whole book thing. Good book, bad book. We don't really know what we're saying. There's tons and tons of things to do. And there's always this confusion around connecting to Rosh Hashanah. And that's what the show is really about. Rosh Hashanah really at its core is really one of the greatest days of the year. It's really the day in which we reaffirm our relationship with God. It's when we proclaim him God over the world. It's really an inauguration, a coronation of the king. And what we're going to talk about today on this show is My Father, My King. What does it mean? How can we best prepare ourselves for this incredible day? And I'm pumped to be on it. Thanks so much for sticking with us. Hope you like the new background. And we want to just first give a shout out to Guy Orman and Big Productions for all their work on this. They're going to be our new partner on this. And we're really excited. We've got a great show for you. We've got Rebbetzin Shalva Friedman on. She's from England. We've got Shimon Appisdorf. He wrote a great book about this. He's coming on. He's coming in from Jerusalem. We got Yaakov Cohen from Chicago. We got Jamie Geller, of course. We've got Kahoot. We've got a crash course on Rosh Hashanah. Like, we got a lot going on. There's going to be a lot. So just get ready, sit back. It's Thursday night. Like, it's chill. It's not right before Shabbat. Like, we get to chill over here. For those who want to, I want to give out Shana Tovaz. We're not doing Shabbat Shalom time. We're doing Shana Tovaz. Best to do is on my Facebook. Just go to my Facebook page, and you can just text me there, because in this new setup, it'll just be easier for me to do it that way. A lot going on. Let's begin a little bit with just a great video to get started from Aish HaTorah. By the way, thank you Aish.com for those videos. We're going to give a special shout out, of course, to Elon Kornblum and the Foodies Group for joining us today as well. And we've got MindFlex coming up, so check out what's happening now in the next week. We've got MindFlex and Deep Dive, so I'm not sure if we can get those flyers up, just to give you a sense of what's going on in the Project Inspire world. And of course, one-on-ones. Oh, here we go. Let's see what we got here. One-on-one, 97,000, and that'll give you, here it is, learn one-on-ones, 97,000. And of course, I want to give a special thank you for those that came to the virtual dinner last Monday night. We had a great dinner, and we appreciate everyone who was part of us. It was a great night. We thank those that donated. We had people from the show that donated, so if you're out there and you really are connected to Project Inspire in any which way, but in particular, for those who are just here from the show and you participated, it really sent a message to the entire Project Inspire team. And so we want to thank you for that. You can still, by the way, if anybody who still wants to donate, it's a good thing to do right before Rosh Hashanah. Go to rayze.it /Project Inspire Light. and that you'll be able to get that. Okay, let's go to our first guest. He is an award-winning author of 10 books that have been read by hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Shimon Apostolov has this unique ability to extract the essence of classical Jewish wisdom and show how it can be relevant to the essential issues facing the mind, heart, and soul in today's world. We had a chance to catch up earlier today and really speak about what Rosh Hashanah means to him. Check this out. Okay, Shimon, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Charlie.
You've been writing and speaking and educating for so many years. And from all the things that you've been doing, there's a book that stands out, at least in my mind, because I saw it years ago. And I remember when I even saw the cover of this book, I'm like, he nailed it. And I didn't even read a word yet. And it's Survival Kit, right? A survival guide to Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. And we'll pull it up on the screen so people see what I'm talking about here. I think I see it behind you. It's this picture of people like out to lunch, looking up. How does the cover, and even when you titled the book, right? It wasn't even like the guide to an inspiring. It's like the survival kit. Like, what were you getting at, and what is happening during this period of time that people are really missing?
Well, that was me, number one. Okay. That was me, and I always tell people any resemblance to family and friends is purely coincidental. But that was me. That was my experience growing up. And as much as my parents tried to instill in me a feeling for being Jewish, which they succeeded, but my synagogue experience was, let's say, less than inspiring. Mm-hmm. And to make a long story short, after many years, when it became something inspiring for me, I made the decision, I need to try and share a little bit of this. Mm-hmm. And my experience was not surviving. Get me out of here.
But why? And you ever wonder, like, this is a time of inspiration. Like, where's the breakdown in your mind between how we engage in this holiday and what the holiday is supposed to be?
Well, at the risk of offending anybody, I will say this. By and large, nobody has a clue what's going on Rosh Hashanah. And when you don't have a clue what's going on, of course it can't mean anything to you. My parents, many, many years ago, after the revolution in Iran, adopted 2 Iranian brothers. And we took them to a Cleveland Browns football game. They were bored out of their minds. They had no idea what was going on. If it was a soccer match, they would have loved it.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Now imagine you're working in a lab and you're doing research, right? And you're getting close to a vaccine for corona. But the work is so tedious. And you're comparing results from tests, and you're going over the data again and again and again, day after day, night after night. Is it boring? No, because you're on the verge of something great, a breakthrough, making a difference for the world. That's what Rosh Hashanah is about. It's about making a difference for the world. Could that possibly be more boring? No. You got to understand what it's about.
That's powerful. And even as you're saying it, I'm getting the chills. That's really a powerful concept to see it in that light. So take us deeper now. Tell us, what are some of the misconceptions? Maybe what should we be thinking about? How can we get better at understanding the mixing of the compound? I love that example. It's so powerful. What can we do practically to sort of get a little bit more of this information as we walk into this so important day?
Number one, forget about the Day of Judgment. Okay, we don't have time now. Forget about coming to Rosh Hashanah as the Day of Judgment. It's the day on which human beings were created. After every single day of creation, God looked at the day and said, Ki Tov. It was good. He looked at what he did. He said, not bad. I did a good job. When it got to the 6th day, creating of the human beings, creating of the first man and woman, he said, Tov Ma'od. That was a really good job. What was so good about it? What was good about it was that he created something that had virtually the same kind of force in the universe that God himself has. created in the image of God. And that force is a force which our sages called Shutaf B'Maaseh Bereshit. We are full, active partners in creation, in making a difference, in completing, in fixing, in fulfilling creation. That responsibility is what we focus on in Rosh Hashanah, rising to that responsibility, to that invitation to be partners with God in creating, fulfilling what creation is all about.
So I'm looking at the day, and it has a very basic structure. And how does a person approach the actual day with what you're saying in mind?
I want to answer that today. I don't want to answer that generally. I want to answer that right now. We're living in the context of a global pandemic. Here in Israel, tomorrow, 2 p.m, we're in lockdown for at least the next 3 weeks. All of the holidays, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Shmini Atzeret, Simchat Torah, God is putting us in time out. Mm-hmm. Jerusalem is the heart of the world. It's the heart of mankind. It's the heart of the Jewish people. Seems to me, God is telling us, time out. You know what? You're going to go to synagogue, or you may not go to synagogue. Personally, I'm not going this year. I'm staying at home. God has closed the doors to the synagogues. He's telling us that there is one door. I've locked you out of many, many doors, schools, yeshivas, synagogues. The doors are closed, but there's one door that can never be closed. That's this door, the door to your heart. This year, I believe we need to spend a lot of time alone with ourselves, with our hearts, with our souls, with those who are closest to us, our loved ones, and really try and ask ourselves one question: who am I? Mm. Who am I? Mm-hmm. So we could talk about this year. I don't think the discussion is the prayer book, the synagogue. It's here. Mm-hmm. And our hearts are open. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a question of going inside.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying, because it doesn't just apply to those who are not going to shul. It applies to those that are going to shul and saying every word. It's just the practice needs to go deeper. It's the lessons that we're getting is don't go back to business as usual. Deepen, open, burrow a hole from your heart. It's such an incredible lesson. Shimon, thank you so much for being on our show. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And your inspiration. And thank you for even just jumping into a subject that for so many years has sort of been like off on the side. Like people have just like not even like whatever, it'll work out in the synagogue, but you jump to no, stop. It ain't gonna be this way. This is the most important day. So we appreciate what you do. Continue shining your light in the world, and a Shana Tova, and it should be
Shana Tova.
And this should be the best year yet, and every year should just get better.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was Shimon Appisdorf. Really check out his book, The Survival Guide to the High Holidays, really speaking about where we need to go. And this is the time where we got to go deeper. I'm speaking about this tomorrow for those who get my Timeless Lessons, the weekly video. This is the subject of tomorrow's video. And it really is about taking the opportunity this year to make this a very more meaningful, a deeper Rosh Hashanah. We have a chance now to capitalize on the time that we are in to go further in our lives, to leverage the meaning. We got a great video coming up right now. Sometimes you get that feeling of you want more, that feeling of you want to get closer. So you just can't stop that feeling. Check out this video from H.com.
I got this feeling inside my soul. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. I'm doing a mitzvah, I'm coming home. We're flying up, got tzitzis when we're in our zone. I got my Torah in my pocket, I got that good soul leading me. Feel that pleasure in my soul when it just pops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. Reaching out, my soul can rock it, so don't stop. And when I hear that voice inside go, nowhere to hide, you don't need to grow. I'm not gonna listen to you, just grow, yeah. Goodness creeping up on me, so I grow. Come on, all those mitzvahs I should do, so I learn and grow. Yeah, my soul ain't leaving soon, here I go, yeah. So just grow. Here we go, come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's Rosh Hashanah time to choose souls yearning on. I don't need no lion, I've got control. I fly so high, no cheating out my comfort zone. Cause I got my Torah in my pocket. I got that good soul telling me I got to use all my potential to choose life. Ooh, time to make that greater vision. Living so phenomenally. Rosh Hashanah's gonna rock it, and that's right. Open my soul, cause everything goes. A new beginning when God is so close. Making choices and shofars are blown. So just imagine love not in that you and you would just dance. Oh, feel good creeping up on you, so just dance. Come on, all those mitzvahs you can do, so just dance. Yeah, my soul ain't leaving soon, so keep dancing. This feeling has just this feeling, here we go. Come on, break it down. We got this feeling, everybody. Stop the feeling. We got this feeling in our soul. Stop the feeling. We got this feeling, everybody. Come on.
How awesome was that? I bet you, by the way, you're thinking, I didn't know Jews could dance so well. You didn't know that about us. That's what I mean, come on. Jews dancing in Israel. Doesn't get better than that. I can't stop this feeling. What an honor to be with you. I want to say something to those that are watching right now. We're getting so many comments. We're trying to take the show to the next level. And along the way, we hit a couple of bumps. And we're getting so many comments that are, we got you, we love you, we're with you. So it means the world to us. You guys are awesome. We're a family. We go into Rosh Hashanah together. We go into Shabbat together. Never leave us because we're one family. And I'm trying to figure out a way to get Shana Tovas to everybody here. If you want, you can go to my Facebook page at Charlie Harari. Just go to Facebook or Instagram and I will see it there. Otherwise, we're going to work on the Zoom soon. The next interview is with a really wonderful, powerful woman. I met her. I spoke to her earlier today as well. Her name is Shalvi Friedman. She grew up in Johannesburg, South Africa. She received her BSc in Math and Finance from the University of South Africa. She studied Jewish thought and textual analysis at the Nishma Seminary in Jerusalem. She has taught in high schools in Johannesburg, as well as many seminaries in Israel, both for newly observant students, as well as those with more traditional backgrounds. She's currently the educational director for the HUK, and we had a chance to catch up and get her perspective on what it's like to coronate the king. Check this out.
So thank you so much for being with us today. I know that it's such a busy time for you, but thanks. We really appreciate being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here.
So it's always challenging to connect to God, right? And perhaps connecting to him as a king is even further away than I think what we're capable of. So why is it so hard for us to connect to a God like this?
Well, I think you really put it together so beautifully in that there's two separate issues here. The one is God, and the second one is really understanding the concept of a king. If we talk about our father, our king, most of us have had some sort of parental feature in our lives, someone who we built a relationship with, built trust with. That's something we're familiar with. Kingship is incredibly far from us. Look, I live in the UK, and we have a queen, but the queen is very much as people feel affiliated with the queen and loyal to the queen is somebody who is on our banknotes, not somebody who makes the rules and who makes the laws. The concept of a king, of a master who's over everybody, who makes a decree and the people keep it, is very strange and very foreign. I heard a story, I don't know if it's true, about when the last Tsar died, that the Chabad Hasidim, they cried. And even though he was a murderer and he was a wicked, wicked man, they said, now we will never, ever understand what it's like to have real respect and fear for a king ever again.
So that's the case then. So how do you connect, right? God is the king. And I agree completely. I mean, today I think, the power rests even more in CEOs of big companies than in actual politicians. Like the world has changed. So how does one now go about it? If Rosh Hashanah really is the story of God's kingship, how does one make that connection if we don't really have the prism of a king in our minds?
It's fascinating that the king can be seen as one of two things. The king can be seen from the top down or from the bottom up. In other words, the king is either the one who makes the laws and you will tremble and you will keep his laws, or the king is really just an accumulation of his people. Mm-hmm. In other words, through getting to know the kingdom, I can come to understand the king. If I want to understand what the Queen of England is like, I go sit with English people and I see their manners and I see how they behave and how they talk, and they have the saying stiff upper lip. And as I get to know the kingdom, I can gain an insight on what that king really is. Mm-hmm. And I think that applies. Sorry.
Please. And I think what you're saying is fascinating, because I don't think people would think of it like that. I think people would only look at it from a, sort of like an sort of like an upwards way of seeing the world, versus what I think what you're saying, which is very powerful and innovative, which is, no, there's a horizontal approach as well, right? Get a sense of the kingdom, the people, the laws, the physical structure of the kingdom. And when you do that, you begin to appreciate and connect to the king.
Absolutely. And in Kabbalistic terms, there's the crown, that which is well beyond comprehension. It's beyond the head even. It can't be understood. It can't be fathomed. And then there is the kingship, which is the people who stand together shoulder to shoulder and kind of form this unity of vision of what the king wants to achieve. You feel this deep sense of connectedness, interconnectedness, and a responsibility for your neighbors. It's how people started WhatsApp groups with their neighbors and really connected to each other, because you had the sense of common purpose and common goal. And for me this year, the shofar absolutely represents that. As we stand in shul, and we're going to be standing in shul, please God, on Sunday, and listening to the sound of the shofar. And I'm so acutely aware of the fact that there are thousands and thousands of people across the globe who are isolating, who are in quarantine, who can't hear the shofar. And so there are literally lists of thousands of Jewish people who have signed up to go from door to door blowing the shofar for Jews. It's humbling, it's absolutely moving. How, as I'm standing in my synagogue, I'm going to be in Bushey in the UK, and as I'm standing and listening to the sound of the shofar, there are Jews in Russia and in South America and in North America and in South Africa, and we're all hearing that same cheer, that same clap, which unites us in this deep sense of, oh my God, we're part of the same team. This is our anthem, and if this is our anthem, then this is an incredible thing, that we're cheering together, we're uniting together in the same anthem. To me, that's kingship.
Beautiful. That's such a great perspective. I'm sure those that hear it will be moved by it. And I think it's such a great, like I said, innovative way of looking at it this year in specifically, because this is the year we need more than anything in the world to feel like we're one, because like you're saying, we are isolated. Thank you so much for being with us. Continue your incredible work. Continue shining your light into the world. Hope we get to see a time where the whole world gets to hear the shofar, and we get to see each other in Yerushalayim soon.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Now, Shelby Friedman, I thought what an incredible idea to be able to see the kingdom as a way to understand the king. It's so critical. This is a period of time right now where we as a nation need to come together and recognize that every one of us is really a manifestation of the king. When we see each other as the kingdom, it begins for us to understand greater what the king has in mind. It's a great approach as we walk into Rosh Hashanah. I want to give a couple of shout outs. I'm going to work on getting the Zoom shout outs for those who want to wish you Shana Tova. If you want, just go to my Facebook and on this show, it's live on my Facebook page. To Judy Hertzfeld, Shana Tova to you. To Michael Weingart, Shana Tova. Debbie Rosalimsky, Shana Tova to you and to your awesome son. Elliot Goldstein, Shana Tova. Emily Howard, Shana Tova, and the entire Howard family in Tallahassee, Florida. Shana Tova to you. Again, if you want, go to my Facebook page. We're going to try to work on the Zoom over here as well, so hopefully we'll get some of the comments and stuff as well. We'd love to wish you Shana Tova because we're one family. That's what we do. Okay, the next guest, incredible rabbi. His name is Rabbi Avraham Goldhar. And Avraham Goldhar is incredible. He has amazed audiences, including me, around the world. His ability to break down and simplify complex concepts. He's the founder of the Goldhar School, the home of the fastest Jewish education on earth. Doesn't that sound awesome? He trains students, teachers, and professionals in his breakthrough models on how to achieve greater academic success. You can check it out at goldharschool.com. And he has actually a crash course on Rosh Hashanah. You want to learn about Rosh Hashanah in a crash course? Guess what? You got it right now. Check this out.
Welcome to the Crash Course on Rosh Hashanah, the holiday that celebrates the Jewish New Year. But Rosh Hashanah is more than just a beginning. Tradition teaches that Rosh Hashanah determines the quality of our lives for the entire upcoming year. Life and death, health and illness, war and peace, happiness and sadness are all impacted by the way we approach this awesome holiday. What is the nature of Rosh Hashanah's power, and what can we do to impact its outcome? Rosh Hashanah is different from other Jewish holidays because it doesn't mark some great Jewish occasion like the liberation from Egypt or the revelation of Mount Sinai. Instead, Rosh Hashanah goes much further back in time. It's the very anniversary of the creation of Adam, the first man who was brought into existence on the sixth day of creation. On that day, Adam, as a mature being, was brought into the Garden of Eden and was given his mandate to work the garden and protect it. And it was the day the universe now had the opportunity to achieve its full potential. And every year since on that day, God decides whether to recreate the world anew and determines how much potential to grant each individual. That's why Rosh Hashanah is also known as the Day of Judgment. Tradition teaches that 3 books are opened on Rosh Hashanah: the Book of Life, the Book of Death, and the Book for the Middle People. In the Book of Life are written the righteous, those people who lead a life of moral excellence, who seek to understand what God wants from them, and who strive for greatness. The Book of Death is reserved for those people who merely live in the here and now, whose moral compass is based on their desires and disregard the needs of others. But what about those individuals whose choices land them somewhere in the middle? Most people fluctuate. They rise and fall, they focus and get distracted, they love and they hurt. They are written in a temporary book called the Book for the Middle People. For them, Rosh Hashanah is only the beginning of the judgment process. They have entered an intense period of spiritual reflection and activity called the 10 Days of Repentance. It begins with Rosh Hashanah and culminates with Yom Kippur. The goal during this period is to tip the balance in favor of being inscribed in the Book of Life. The books of life and death are only sealed on Yom Kippur. The fate of the people still in the middle is decided on that day. Which book will they enter? It depends on how they conduct themselves during these days. During the Rosh Hashanah services, we all proclaim together that repentance, prayer, and charity can affect the decree. These days are ideal for addressing mistakes in the past and for changing bad patterns of living, for strengthening your relationship with the Almighty by spending more time speaking to Him directly, and for using your resources to help others in need, and to aid institutions that need your partnership to help the greater community. But it's what happens specifically on Rosh Hashanah that matters most. Surprisingly, we don't do any personal repentance. We don't discuss mistakes or express regrets. Instead, we focus on 3 things that have the greatest impact on the judgment we receive. First, as the day of our recreation, we proclaim we want the Almighty as our King, because to us, the meaning to life is that we fulfill our personal mission in the kingdom of God. We tell God we share His vision of an uplifted humanity and accept our role as faithful servants. The more committed we are, the more committed the Almighty is to granting us our potential. This is the part of the service called kingship. Then we enter the second part of the service called remembrance. We acknowledge that God is our true King. As sovereign of the universe, He's completely aware of our lives and our actions, and He responds. To many, being scrutinized down to the moral fiber of every moment is overwhelming and oppressive. To us, it's thrilling, as an expression of love, to be cared for, and to realize it's because we matter so much that the Almighty grants us His divine providence. The more we want the Almighty to know and remember us, the more He wants to grant us a fulfilled and meaningful life. And finally, the third and most dramatic part of the service is the blowing of the shofar. The shofar is a ram's horn, and at the time of the blowing, that's when the judgment is occurring on us. And all of living existence is passing before the Almighty in single file like sheep passing before a shepherd. What does the blowing of the shofar signify, and what should we be thinking? First, the alarming sound of the shofar is a wake-up call. Our lives are passing before us like a fleeting dream, and many people live through much of it in a slumber. Wake up. Your life is not a dress rehearsal. This is your only shot. Wake up and make choices that are consequential, not only for you, but that can impact the world at large. When you hear the sound of the shofar, remind yourself that you're a living descendant of our founding father Abraham, who was willing to bring up his son Isaac as an offering at God's command, and that you too have the potential to hear and respond to a call for action. In fact, the shofar reminds us of the ram that Abraham offered in place of his son Isaac, and that serves as a merit for us on Rosh Hashanah Day. And finally, let the sounds of the shofar help you envision the future, when the shofar blast will trumpet in a new era for mankind, when peace and harmony will be secured amongst the nations, and people collectively will realize that life is beautiful when you're living with God. Shana Tova, have a sweet new year, and most importantly, may we all be inscribed in the book of life.
So how does this work? I mean, one of the questions that everyone asks is, how do I work through Judgment Day? How does judgment work? Where is the feeling, so to speak, of the connection with regards to judgment? I want to share with you just a quick idea that really has changed me. So I started my life, as you know, as working at a big law firm. When you work in a big law firm, there's thousands of associates, and they work you like crazy. For those of you who are watching that are big law, for those of you who are on the Daily Boost with me every morning, you've heard this before. I remember once being a mid-level associate, and I watched a senior level associate working for years. And then one day, a partner of this group basically walked in and said, thanks for your service. Like, here's a button. Like, it's been a pleasure. We're hiring someone instead. Like, we're just going to hire above you. And he was devastated, and I was shocked. Like, here's a person who had worked for literally 8 years of his life, 3,000 hours, just an incredible amount of time, and ultimately didn't make what he wanted, which was to be a partner. And I remember going to a mentor of mine who was a partner in a law firm, and I asked him, I said, well, then how do I know if they're grooming me to be partner or not? Like, how do I know if they're just not working me and they're going to get rid of me? He said something so fascinating to me. He said, see if they review you. If they're not grooming you, then they're just going to let you be. They're not going to waste the time. They're not going to be uncomfortable giving you feedback. They're not going to expect you to hear their feedback because it's an uncomfortable conversation. They're just going to nod you through it, give you a basic review at the end of the year, and off you go. If they really care about you, if they really want to see the best in you, they're going to put you through a review process. They're going to critique your papers. They're going to critique your style. They're going to critique your documents because they're trying to grow you. One of the most important ways that which we have to see Rosh Hashanah, and this concept even of judgment, which is so beyond us. It's not like we're going to school. It's that there's something that God sees in us that he values. There's something about me that God is, so to speak, taking the time to push me, to expect of me, to want of me. It's not to push, it's to pull. When we stand before God on Rosh Hashanah, we don't know how the judgment works. So just to get involved in that is going to be too complicated. But what we do know is that God is asking of me to be bigger, to be kinder, to be nobler, because he can, because he sees something in me that I may not have seen in myself. The creator of humanity, so to speak, is taking his time to think about my life. Does he even know me? It's an incredible, incredible opportunity, an incredible gift for us to think about that, to grow from that. All right, we've got a great, it's Kahoot time. What am I talking about? First, we're going to do a couple of Shana Tovas over here. So we got Zoom going. It's our first week. Stick with us. I'm going to see how much I can get done. Just a couple over here right now. To the Hess family, Shana Tova to you. RM in Baltimore, Shana Tova. To Jose Guzman, Shana Tova to you. To Aviva Gold, Shana Tova, and to Ozzy from Baltimore, Shana Tova to you. Jonathan Gola of North Potomac, Maryland, Shabbat Shalom. Patriots Rock is here. Shabbat Shalom to you. Oh, I said Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova and Shabbat Shalom. It's all happening at the same time this year. Nadia Batsheva Bazenga from Brooklyn, Shabbat Shalom to you. Hope everybody's well. And the Mervis family from Silver Spring, Shabbat Shalom to you. Okay, it's time for Kahoot. Hope my mom is on. Every week we go through this, so I usually delay getting Kahoot stuff going so my mom could log on. Mommy, I hope that you're on. 772-3269, 772-3269. If you want more Shana Tovas, Lisa Black Beddings just chatted on. Hi, Lisa Black. Chava Miller, Shana Tova from Passaic. If you want to Facebook me, you're welcome to as well. I'm looking at those messages as the show continues, or you can get it on Zoom, whatever you'd rather. We just love to hear from you. Got Kahoot going right now. This is really the last Kahoot of the year, or well, I don't know, maybe it's like the first Kahoot in the new world. 772-3269. If you haven't yet claimed your prizes, projectinspire.com. Just email info@, and we'll be able to get you there. You can play from wherever it is that you're going. If you haven't downloaded the app, go to the Kahoot app, and you'll be able to see it there. Otherwise, you can do it on Zoom. You can do it on live stream. You can do it with each other. However you want to do it, as long as you're playing. In my house, just so you know, as people log on, in my house, there's I love it. I come home from the show and I got who did what. So even in my house, they're getting competitive, which I love. Shana Tova from Shana Tova Steve from Boca Raton. I see. Okay, let's get rolling. Can we get Kahoot rolling? Project Inspire team. Let's get Kahoot on. Here we go. 3. In which Torah passage is the shofar alluded to? Where is the shofar alluded to? When God remembers Sarah and she becomes pregnant with Isaac, the binding of Isaac, when Isaac meets Rebekah, or when Isaac's 2 sons are born, Jacob and Esau. Where do we get the shofar from? Answer quickly. Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. And the people that are chatting, for those of you who are going to be on the chat, there's some extra help coming from those, but just quickly answer. Here we go. Binding of Isaac, excellent. Binding of Isaac, excellent. Lots of people got that one right. Here we go. Let's see how we did. Ozzy's first, Patriot Rocks. Kerr's mommy, Silver family, Patriots Rock, Novak family. Okay, we got some regulars making the board early. Here goes the second question. Let's get that rolling. Rosh Hashanah translates as New Year, Day of Judgment, open the gates of heaven and let me in, because I'm trying really hard. Head of the year. This is read this carefully. New Year, Day of Judgment, open the gates of heaven and let me in. It's a song. Or head of the year. Which one is it? Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova to Helene from Boca Raton. Thanks for tapping in. Here goes. Head of the year. Excellent. Head of the year. Excellent. Here we go. Here comes next. Silver on top. Putney, Winchana, Novak, and Aviva. Okay, here we go. Number 3, multi-select. On a typical year, how many shofar blasts are blown during the service each day? 10, 30, 40, 100. How many blasts on a typical day? 10, 30, 40, or 100? There it is. 10, 30, 40, or 100 on a typical year. This year will be different wherever you are. Jen from Georgia, Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova. Mervis family, Shana Tova. 3,700, very good. We got a serious crowd over here. You guys are not messing around. Let's see how we do. Putney, Novak, Rachel, Hillary, and Gibbs. This is it. This is the final question. Let's see how we do for the first. Really, I consider this the first one. Person's yearly allowance is fixed on Rosh Hashanah except for 3 expenses. Which of these are 3 expenses that are accepted out of your annual allotment? Vacations, presents for your spouses, and Hanukkah gifts. Travel to Israel, donations to synagogue membership. Hair loss, weight, and popularity, or expenses for Shabbat, Yom Tov, and children's Torah education. Which of these 3 things is accepted out from the annual allocation that you get on Rosh Hashanah? Which of these things? Here it is. Very good. Expenses for Shabbat, Yom Tov, and education. Although I think we should somehow figure out a way to petition God for the presents for one spouse. I think that would be really helpful. Okay, awesome. And here it goes. 3rd place, the Novak family. Congratulations. 2nd place, Rachel. First place goes to Putney. Putney has been on top of that board once before. Putney, if you're watching, identify yourself. Congratulations to Aram and Hillary. Identify yourself on the chat so I can wish you a Shana Tova. Excellent work, everybody. On the show, by the way, I got to tell you, I always get hungrier when I see Jamie Geller and all of her awesome food. For those of you who were at the live stream for Monday night, she just totally killed it. She always kills it. She's awesome. If she's on, I didn't hear from her yet, but if she's on, I want to give special Shana Tova to Jamie's mom, who's always here. And check out the latest from the one and only Jamie Geller.
Charlie, thank you. Hello, everybody. What an incredible year this has been. Let's end things off with a sweet note. These are baked apple roses. They're absolutely exquisite, but they take no time and really no skill to prepare. That's why they're one of my famous and most popular and favorite recipes. I think you're gonna love it for Rosh Hashanah, just a great sweet ending to the meal, something that looks special for the holidays, but you're gonna work it into your repertoire year-round. I'm absolutely sure of that. Now, I just wanna take a few moments to give you blessings. I wanna wish you all a happy, healthy, sweet new year, a year filled with safety, security, sustenance, and incredible spiritual growth. It has been an honor to be speaking to you and to be on this incredible bringing in Shabbat journey together with you this year, and I can't wait for it to continue into the year to come. My mother always says in Yiddish, gesund and parnasa. That's what she blesses me always with, which translates to health and wealth. I think it's a great blessing always, but especially in these challenging times. Just know that we are all in this together. I hope you have a meaningful Rosh Hashanah, an amazing Shabbat, and I cannot wait to see you on the other side. I love you all so much. Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova.
That was Jamie Geller. For more great videos, make sure you go to jamiegeller.com, to Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Jamie Geller, and Julius by Jamie. Our next guest grew up in New York and earned his bachelor's in psychology, rabbinic ordination, and doctorate in education, all from Yeshiva University. He now lives in Chicago, where he serves as the director of NCSY and as an educational consultant. Rabbi Cohen is a passionate educator and an inspiring speaker who has traveled around the country speaking for organizations, schools, synagogues, and universities. He is a community leader and actively involved with several local organizations, synagogues. Rabbi Cohen, welcome to the show.
Hey, Charlie. Thank you so much for having me.
It is an
thrilled
honor
to be a part of the show.
It's great to have you on. Share with us a little bit about what you're thinking now as we are preparing ourselves for this really important day.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Rosh Hashanah, obviously this is in line with so many of the comments, so many of the ideas that have been shared by your guests and by you. But Rosh Hashanah, of course, the focus of the day is coronating God as our king, you know, crowning him as our king, the royalty of Hashem, the royalty of God. So what does that really mean to us? How do we connect to that personally? And that's, you know, something that we've all been trying to grapple with tonight and figure out, because if that's the focus of the day, that's the focus of the great, you know, the New Year's, the Yom HaDin, the Day of Judgment. So if we want to succeed and celebrate this day, how do we achieve that? How do we connect to this idea of crowning God as our king? So just a quick story. And this is one of the most incredible stories I've ever heard. And it's possible that other people who are on this right now have heard it before. It was told originally by a man named Beryl Gardner, and it's his personal story. And it was told on June 26, 2013. It was told on when he was being interviewed on BBC Radio. And really, I could imagine that this is one of the most remarkable stories that BBC Radio has ever heard before. So Beryl grew up in Germany. And before World War II was beginning, as things were getting very terrifying. Beryl, along with 10,000 other Jewish children, were brought out of Germany on the Kinder transport and were saved. And so Beryl was brought to England, and he was brought to an orphanage. And the caregivers at the orphanage, sweetest people in the world, they couldn't comfort him. He was crying literally every single day. He missed his parents. And they tried to comfort him, they tried to console him, nothing worked. This went on for days, then weeks turned into months. Until one day, Beryl's caregivers, they came to him and they told him that King George VI, the King of England, was going to be passing by their village the following week. And they noticed it was the first time in months since he arrived that he stopped crying. Beryl had an idea. Secret. He didn't want to share it with anyone. So the week came, the final day came, that the king would be passing through the village. And Beryl and the other Jewish children were brought to the town square where the king would be passing by. And as the king's carriage, his royal carriage, was passing by, and Beryl and the other Jewish children were standing behind this barricade, Beryl jumped over the barricade and ran towards the royal carriage. And he continued running until the guards, the royal guards, stopped him. They held on to him and they started bringing him back to the barricade. And the king noticed this commotion and he said, "What's going on?" And they explained to him, this young boy just ran towards the royal carriage. We're bringing him back. And the king said, "Bring him closer." And as Beryl came closer to the royal carriage, the king leaned in and he said, "Why did you run towards my carriage? Is there something that you want to tell me?" And Beryl said, he began crying subtly. And he said, "Yes, there's something that I want to ask you. I miss my parents so much. They're stuck in Germany. Can you please try to help bring them here to me?" And the king smiled at Beryl. I wasn't going to laugh at him, but he smiled. He says, "We're at war with Germany. It's impossible for me to help you. It's impossible for me to help your family. I'm sorry." And then Beryl started crying uncontrollably. And he said, "But you're the King of England. You can do anything. Please, please bring my parents to me." The king looked at him with compassion and he said, "Please stop crying. I can't promise that I'm going to be able to succeed, but I promise you that I will be able to try. I promise I'm going to try to do whatever I can to bring your parents here." So Beryl gave the king his parents' names, and he didn't know what to expect, what was going to come of it. He walked away, walked back to the barricade where his orphanage, the people from his orphanage were standing. A month later, there was a knock at the door of the orphanage. Beryl's parents had arrived.
Wow.
Somehow, they were brought out of Germany, and they were brought to be reunited with their son. And as inspiring as that story is, the message is even more powerful. And that is that we're taught on Rosh Hashanah that God leaves his palace, so to speak, and he roams throughout the villages and fields to be closer to his subjects, to be closer to us. And it's our opportunity to jump the barricade like Beryl did and connect to God, to connect to the king, to come closer to him, to ask him for whatever we want, to ask him to invest in us a year of tremendous blessings and joy. And that is really what Rosh Hashanah is all about. That's what coronating God as our king. Crowning him is not just sitting in the background as we're watching him be crowned. It's being an active participant. It's us being able to crown him. Me, you, I can crown God. I can connect to him personally. And that, I think, is the first step, at least, of what royalty truly is.
I love it. Yaakov, thank you so much for those words. I mean, just the image of being able to jump the barricades for a human king, so much so for us to have the opportunity. These are complex concepts of the master of the world coming in, and just the idea that our job really is to jump the barricade, to go beyond ourselves to the king, is so inspiring. Thank you so much for who you are. Thank you so much for shining your light on the Jewish people.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have an incredible new year.
Thank you. You too.
That was Yaakov Cohen. What a great concept, right? I mean, like, think about what he said and just like, let's just digest that for a second before we go to the next video. I want to make sure I get to see the comments. So I'll ask the Project Inspire team to make sure that I can see the Shana Tovas. But think about that concept. It's so incredible. The idea that each and every one of us has the ability to jump the barricade, so to speak, to be more, to push for a different relationship. You know, so much of our lives changes when we can feel the presence of God in our lives. I mean, think about life with God, meaning and purpose, and that feeling of warmth that you're being taken care of. And myself and so many others sometimes feel like I'm not good enough, I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough, I'm not a holy rabbi, I didn't come from this background. We all have those feelings. And there are moments where the king comes out of his palace, so to speak, where he comes into the fields. And it's those moments where you can just jump the barricades and see the king. And barricades now are our comfort zones in praying and talking to him and being good to each other, in trying to take time these next few days and be honest with ourselves and be honest with him. What we can accomplish in these next few days are levels that we couldn't get maybe throughout the entire year. What a great concept. Thank you for sharing that. A couple more Shana Tovas before we go to our next video. We've uncovered the Putney victory and the victor. It is Shoshana Putney from Scottsdale, Arizona. Excellent work. Teresa and Brian Wolf from Oak Park, Michigan. Shana Tova to you. Shana Tova to Debbie Weiss from Muncie, and your kind words. Thank you. Shana Tova, and have an incredible year to you as well. The Guzman family in San Antonio, Texas. This is ridiculous. We just went from Texas to Muncie to Michigan and to Scottsdale, Arizona. You know why? Because we're one family, we're one people. This is what it's all about right here. This was what it's all about. And the Novak family from Toronto, just in case we didn't have enough places, we'll go all the way up to Canada. I love you guys. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. We're one big, awesome family. Check out this next video from Aish.com. This is an Aish.com video session over here. They've been just totally killing it with these great high holidays videos. Go to Aish.com for more stuff, but check out this video from Aish.com, A Letter from God. That's really what this is all about. That's what the show really is all about. These are the moments. Hillary Block from Norfolk, Virginia. Shana Tova to you. These are the moments. These are the moments. Oh, one more second before we close this out. Special shout out to Rachel S. She is the second place winner from Providence, Rhode Island. These are the moments that we're in right now. These are the moments where our people have to come together. When you think about having a king, it means that you're part of something. You're part of something really big. Wherever you are watching this, I want you to know that as far or as close as you think you are, you're part of something. You're part of God's kingdom. And on Rosh Hashanah, we stare up to the heavens, so to speak. And we begin Rosh Hashanah by just thanking him for the opportunity. I can't describe to you how it feels when I look down the chat and I look on the Facebook and I am across the country in a second. And where we are, and by the way, this is just one country or two countries. If we had this going and people from all over the world would chat in, we would realize that we're all connected. We're all going into the same thing together. We're all one people. And we're one people because we have one Father. He made us one people. He gave us this incredible nation. He gave us this incredible book that guides our lives. And he gave us the greatest gift of all time, which is him. We shouldn't take for granted that the basics of Jewish understanding and thought is that the creator of humanity wants a relationship with us. That's insane. Like if we just for a minute pulled back and said the creator of humanity wants a relationship with me. It's incredible. Rosh Hashanah is the day that we just digested. It's not a day where we get lost in just the usual stuff. It's not just a regular Shabbat, even though there's no such thing as regular Shabbat. Shabbat is also an incredible day. It's not like any other day of the year. It's not like Yom Kippur. It's its own special, unique blend of celebration and holiday, but of seriousness, of contemplation and introspection, but also of the joy and enjoyment. Because in many ways, it is this party for God, this coronation. And we're a part of it. We were invited to the ball. And to do it correctly, we have to live in both worlds. We have to have times where we're happy and we start to infuse happiness into our lives and our families around the table as much as we can during this period of time. More than ever. We also have to give the right amount of time during Rosh Hashanah to thinking about our relationship with God, to praying with our hearts, to speaking to him in our own language or in the language given to us, but to allow ourselves to spend the time so that when we leave Rosh Hashanah, it wasn't just a longer version of Shabbat. It wasn't just another day. And no matter what we take on, no matter what this means for us, it doesn't mean that everyone's going to sit for 7 hours in synagogue. But wherever you are, jump the boundary to see the King. Push a little bit more. Take a deep breath and jump off the cliff, a drop, and have that conversation and read that book and open that machzor, or take wherever you are to the next level. Because I am sure that when the kings, especially now, when you take that jump, you'll be met with open arms from our Father, our King. And from me and mine to you and yours, I want to wish you a year that is the greatest year of your life. May you have clarity and wisdom. May you have health and happiness. May you get the pride from your family. May you get the connection to God. May you achieve your goals in the physical world, the material world, and the spiritual world. May you realize greatness in relationship with God, with your family, and with your nation. And may all of us realize that the greatest gift we've ever gotten is that we get to be part of this kingdom. We get to have him as our king. And may us together this year be able to do this show together, because you are all coming. I'm telling you right now, you watch the show, you better be booking the ticket. May we have the opportunity to do this show live from Jerusalem when the King of the world reveals himself and the whole world knows that he was, is, and will always be the King. Shana Tova, Gemar Chatima Tova. May this be the greatest year of our lives, and may every year afterwards get only better.
Father, bring me back to you, back into your loving arms, back into your loving arms. I've gone so far from home. I'm begging, bring me back to you.